Single camera productions can be used in multiple different types of visual media, such as television dramas, soap operas, and comedies. An example for all of these might include Breaking Bad, EastEnders, and Friends. There might also be documentaries such as Planet Earth and advertisements, like the McDonald's Lift ad. They can be used for a multitude of reasons. One of the main reasons is that it is much cheaper than a multi-camera setup because you are paying for less equipment and crew, and it is more accessible for new film producers due to being able to have a simpler setup. However, they may also be used so that the shots are easier to edit and the crew are able to shoot scenes with less actors, despite needing many more takes. Alongside the benefits of single camera productions, there is also the limitations. These include only being able to film one angle at a time, leading to a more time-consuming filming process. There is less crew available to spot potential errors, for example, seeing a microphone in the background of a shot, and there is more time spent editing because there is more shots to put together. Single camera productions can be shown on many platforms, such as television, where you can find channels such as ITVB. ITVB is beneficial for television because it appeals to viewers of reality and lifestyle programs, which things like YouTube won't offer to viewers, although it might not have enough variation to keep viewers interested or appeal to a wider audience. Cinema, like Odeon and Cineworld, and interactive digital platforms such as BBC iPlayer. Cinemas are beneficial for single camera productions as they show a wide variety of films which are easily accessible by the general public. However, it may be busy or the viewer may not be able to afford the ticket. Interactive digital platforms are extremely beneficial for single camera productions as the programs or films are available on demand and they are easily accessed. Interactive digital platforms such as BBC iPlayer may be a negative thing because it only provides programs and films based on their provider, in this example, the BBC. Film festivals are another good platform for single camera productions to be shown. This is because it shows a range of indie and or upcoming films, but it may not be as good because it may be inaccessible for people living too far away or it may be too crowded. An establishing shot is an extreme long shot which is used to inform the viewer of where the following scene is taking place. A good example would be from the first Harry Potter film, showing Hogwarts. A master shot can be the same as a long shot or an established shot, and it keeps all actors in view from start to finish. It is used so that the viewer can look at all of the characters at the same time within a shot. It could also be used to introduce everybody in a scene. An example would be from Boogie Nights, shown here. A tracking shot is used to show the viewer where the character is going, usually as if we are on the same adventure as them. An example would be from Pulp Fiction, when the camera follows a character around a restaurant. A cutaway is used to show the viewer something that better helps the viewer understand the atmosphere and or the plot. This example is from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. A wide shot is the same as a long shot. It is used to show the character's costume, makeup, and or their expressions. It can also show their surroundings. This example is from Pirates of the Caribbean and shows Jack Sparrow in fear whilst being chased by Native Americans. A mid-shot is the same as a medium shot. It is typically used to show non-verbal types of communication, such as body language and facial expressions. It shows the character's torso and head. It could also bring more attention to the characters. This is an example from Titanic. We can see the characters being passionate with one another and shows the sunset and the ocean, a stereotypical romantic setting. This helps the viewer understand their relationship. A two-shot is used when two people are in frame. It is used so that the viewer can see both of the characters' facial expressions. This helps the viewer understand how they're feeling. It also lets the viewer see both of the characters without changing shot, whilst they're having a conversation. This example is from Pulp Fiction, showing two characters in an elevator. A medium close-up is used to show a character's face clearly without being uncomfortably close. It shows their upper torso and their face. It is halfway between a mid-shot and a close-up. This example is from The Big Lebowski. It shows a character looking concerned and or confused, which could make the viewer feel the same reason, as we do not know what he is thinking. A close-up is a shot used to show how a character might be feeling, or to focus on a key prop important to the narrative. This example is from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and it shows a character smoking a cigarette and looks as if he is trying to work something out, which may intrigue the audience. An extreme close-up is used to make the viewer focus on a specific thing, usually a key plot point or a character's face. This example is from Shrek. It shows the main character quite alarmed, making the viewer question what he has seen and or what has happened. A bird's eye view is used to establish an area, similar to that of an establishing shot. It helps the audience understand the area and can look down upon a subject, similar to a high-angle shot. This example is from A Nightmare on Elm Street, and gives the viewer an overview on what is happening and the surrounding. The rule of thirds is a technique used by directors to correctly frame a shot. This example shows Chris Pratt's character in approximately 6 boxes on the right side, whilst the other 3 are empty, showing the surroundings, this being a cage. Over-the-shoulder shots are typically used to immerse the audience, to make them feel part of a conversation that the characters are having. This example is from The Dark Knight, and shows clearly the Joker's and Batman's facial expression, and makes the viewer feel as if they are standing there with the characters. Shot reverse shot is used to show characters in a conversation to show one character looking at the other character, and the second character looking back. This is an example from Wolf of Wall Street. It shows Leonardo DiCaprio's character and Matthew McConaughey's in a conversation. We see both characters' facial expressions and how they're feeling. We see Leonardo DiCaprio's character feeling unsure, and Matthew McConaughey's character feeling confident. The 180-degree rule is an imaginary line that cinematographers use to compose shots correctly. If that line is crossed, it may confuse the viewer or look messy. It is used so that during a conversation the first actor is on the left of the shot and the second actor is on the opposite side, this being the right. This example is from Hulk, and is an example of it being broken. It shows both actors on the same side of a shot and can confuse the viewer. An eye-level shot is commonly used to get personal with the audience, and it is a neutral shot. It doesn't show anything as powerful or weak like a high-angle or a low-angle shot. It shows the audience how the characters are seeing everything because they're on even ground. This example is taken from The Shining. We have an eye-level shot throughout the sequence so that we're at the same elevation of the child, making the audience sympathetic towards the child and making the viewer feel the same amount of fear and or curiosity the child is feeling. The viewer exactly what the character is seeing. This example is from Inglourious Basterds. We are seeing the protagonist through the eyes of a Nazi soldier. This helps the viewer understand his fear and what is about to happen to him. This also helps us understand the protagonists and their motivations. A high-angle shot is when the camera is above a subject and looking down on them. This makes them seem as if the subject is weaker. This is typically used for a hero in movies to make them seem more heroic and triumphant. This shot is taken from the Avengers and shows Captain America and Thor looking beaten from a high angle. A low-angle shot is when the camera is below a subject and looking up to them. This makes them seem more powerful. This is typically used for a villain in a movie, showing them as an overpowering force. An example here is from Pulp Fiction. We see both Jules and Vincent above the camera looking more powerful. A Dutch tilt is used for dramatic effect and can be used to portray things such as unease, madness, intoxication, etc. This example is from Thor. A Dutch tilt is used to show Thor's unease because he is bolted to a bed. It could also portray his anger and represent how his life has been thrown off balance. A handheld camera is used to make the audience feel as if they're watching through the eyes of another person, and is typically used when a film's budget is lower than usual. A shoulder mount is similar to a handheld, but it rests upon a cinematographer's shoulder. It usually results in more comfortable filming and more stable footage. It can also be used when a film has a low budget. A Steadicam is used when the cinematographer must follow the subject, typically running, and it results in stable footage that looks more professional. A dolly track is used to follow a subject and usually has a designated cinematographer to operate at all times. It is a wheeled cart used to create smooth horizontal camera movements whilst following a subject. A jib is a crane-like device with a camera on one end and a counterweight on the other. It operates like a seesaw, but the camera end can be moved through an extended arc. It can be moved vertically, horizontally, or both. Panning is a basic technique that is accomplished by having a tripod and moving the camera horizontally, left or right. Here you can see that technique used. Zooming is another simple technique used to get a better view of something, usually a plot device or a facial expression. A dolly zoom is accomplished by moving the dolly back whilst zooming in. It undermines normal visual perception and keeps the subject the same size throughout the shot. A focus pull is when you change focus in a shot. For example, a deep focus to a shallow focus. It may focus on something in the background to something in the foreground. Maintaining continuity between takes and media is important because it makes it more realistic. A way to do this is for the setup to stay the same. For example, if a character were to pick up a cup in their right hand in one take, it would also have to be in their right hand in the next. Another way of maintaining continuity is to have consistent lighting throughout shots. For example, if filming outside, in the sun, then it gets darker, it makes the shot inconsistent, making it clear it was not one take. You can maintain continuity by using a tripod, which maintains a consistent height and keeps the shot stable. Shooting for eyeline match is used to show the viewer what a character is seeing. This is an example from Star Wars: The Phantom Menace, showing what Obi-Wan is seeing. This is an example of a wide shot, deep focus, and a two-shot. A tripod was used to keep the camera stable. A benefit of these techniques is that the use of deep focus shows the viewer everything is clear physically and perhaps metaphorically in terms of plot. This is backed up by the use of a wide shot, which also shows everything. The two-shot just shows both of the characters in the shot. The composition of the shot shows Landa on the left consistently and in the light, whereas Monsieur Le Petit is either in centre of frame or on the right side, both of which are in the dark. The use of Le Petit in the dark suggests that he is hiding something, or the darkness could connote evil, meaning he is a bad character, despite the plot conveying the idea that he is an innocent character that is doing what he believes is right, which is harbouring a Jewish family. The use of Landa in the light suggests that he is bringing the truth to light, and the light could connote to good, meaning he is a good character. However, the light is from a lamp which produces artificial light, suggesting that Landa is faking being a good character, or the lamp could suggest how Landa believes he is doing something good for his country, whereas the viewer knows he is evil. The techniques may have been used to subtly imply that Landa is the main plot driver by making Le Petit tell the truth. Landa lures both Le Petit and the viewer into a false sense of security by pretending to be a good character. Landa is sitting down whereas Le Petit is standing up. This conveys the idea that Landa has less power than Le Petit as he is at a lower level. This is ironic because it is clear Landa has more power due to his uniform and ranking within the Nazi regime. Landa is the main focus for the frame as he is more central than Le Petit, drawing the audience's attention to him, giving Landa more power. Le Petit is blocked in most of the frame by support for the house. This shot shows irony to the audience and presents Landa as a villain so powerful he doesn't need to dominate a frame, and he can make himself seem weaker than those around him. This is the initial indication to the audience as to who the main antagonist is going to be. This is an example of an establishing shot and deep focus. An establishing shot is used to show the viewer that we are in a countryside, usually associated with peace and away from war. The use of the caption 1941 informs the viewer that this sequence is taking place during World War II. This shot was taken using a tripod, keeping the shot at one height and focusing on the subject, this being the house and Le Petit. The composition of the shot shows the house on the left of the frame, Le Petit in the middle, and the cows on the right. From this shot, we can see as we look further right it becomes more naturalistic and less man-made, adding to the connotations of peace. The use of time of day, assumedly morning, connotes to the audience an idea of new beginning because it is a new day. This is also the beginning of a movie, again adding to the idea of a new start. This technique of a deep focus and an established shot shows the viewer everything and doesn't focus on one thing, such as a facial expression or a plot device. This may have been done on purpose to convey the idea of everything being shown to the viewer in terms of plot. This shot portrays peace in the countryside and clashes with the date across the screen, knowing that this is taking place during World War II. The piece is associated with the naturalistic imagery of the shot, an example being the grass and the trees. The techniques used in this shot are an over-the-shoulder shot and a focus pulling. The use of focus pulling, a shallow focus to a deep focus, is used to draw the viewer's attention to the approaching vehicles to the house. This shallow focus could represent how the family has shut themselves off from the rest of the country, but is pulled back into the real world by the approaching Nazis. The over-the-shoulder shot may have been used to immerse the viewer and make them feel as if they were part of this family. The composition of the shot shows the viewer the girl on the left and middle, and the sheet shrouding the field where the vehicles are coming from, and the right side shows some field and some trees, relating to the idea of nature and that being disturbed by the soldiers. These techniques may have been used to immerse the viewer and sympathise with the family. The techniques used in this shot consist of panning and establishing a shot and deep focus. The panning gives the viewer an idea of the height of the mountain the building rests on and allows the viewer to see all of around this building. The deep focus allows the viewer to see everything clearly in frame, adding to the idea of showing the viewer everything clearly. There is use of an establishing shot which indicates where the shot and the video is taking place. There is low-key lighting which usually connotes to evil, and the use of bad weather may relate to a pathetic fallacy and indicate that bad things are about to happen, or that they have already happened. The use of the demon statue outside of the building indicates to the viewer presence of evil. This is further backed up by the birds flying around the building. There is no use of nature other than one tree, showing a lack of naturalistic imagery. These techniques were used to show the viewer the building and show them the recurring themes of evil and a lack of nature. The techniques used in this frame are low-angle shot, panning, and two-shot. The panning is used to effectively show all of Noodle's room and show the stereotypical Japanese decorations. It also keeps the head in frame at all times whilst panning. The composition of the shot keeps Noodle in the middle of the frame, showing her as the main subject, so that the viewer focuses mainly on her. This also gives her more power. The low-angle shot shows Noodle as more powerful because we are looking up to her. The two-shot keeps both the head and Noodle in the frame, making the viewer aware what the viewer should be focusing on. These techniques were used to show Noodle's power over the head because she's keeping it alive with machinery. She doesn't have power physically nor mentally, but the viewer looks up to her powerful character because she's keeping the head alive. A shallow focus, a medium shot, and a two-shot is used in this frame. A shallow focus is used to draw the viewer's attention to Noodle in the foreground and not towards the head in the background, which is not in focus. A medium shot is used to show parts of Noodle's costume and her facial expression whilst she is singing. The two-shot is used to show Noodle in the foreground, in focus, and the head in the background not in focus, to convey the message of power for Noodle. She is the important subject in the frame. The composition of the shot shows the head on the left and in the middle of the frame, and Noodle on the right. This was done intentionally to draw the viewer's attention to the head, as it is a more prominent figure in the shot, but where it is not in focus it shows the character as weaker because it is not worth focusing on, making the viewer sympathetic towards the head. These techniques were used to indicate a hierarchy of power between the head and Noodle. Shown in this frame is an over-the-shoulder, shallow focus, and a close-up. The shot focuses on the middle ground and leaves the foreground and the background out of focus. The only thing in focus is Mike, implying that Will is only focusing on Mike. The use of the over-shoulder shot suggests to the viewer an idea of teamwork and friendship. The shallow focus differs from the deep focus used in the upside down, making it clear where the character is. The composition of the shot shows Will and Mike on the bottom right of the shot with the rest of the group behind and on the left and middle of the frame. This shows the viewer that composition was not widely considered during this shot. An establishing shot is used in this frame alongside panning and a high-angle shot. The camera moves upwards and pans downwards, creating a sense of a looming presence as it is looking down upon Will, making the viewer fear for Will's safety and adds to an atmosphere of unease. The use of an establishing shot shows Will as a small insignificant figure surrounded by darkness and mist, adding to the idea of him being weak to that of which surrounds him. The composition of the shot shows two lamps at the left and right of the frame and Will directly in the middle. The height of the lamps are taller than Will, again showing him as a smaller insignificant figure, which is added to by Will in the background and the lamps in the foreground. The lights may be representative of power, as they are projecting light and are unique in comparison to everything surrounding them. They stand out, whereas Will is part of the darkness and can barely be distinguished from that around him. Eyeline match, panning, low-angle shot, and a wide shot is used to show the mind flayer and the size of it. Eyeline match is used to show the viewer exactly what Will is seeing. The camera has to pan up as the mind flayer grows in size and adds to the fear for Will's safety and the threat that the mind flayer represents. The low-angle shot implies to the viewer that Will is looking up to the mind flayer, showing Will as weak and the mind flayer is extremely powerful. The wide shot is used to show the viewer all of the mind flayer and add to the fear factor that it presents to both the viewer and Will. The composition of the shot shows the mind flayer in the centre of the frame and trees at the bottom and left and right, commonly associated with horror movies and TV shows, which makes the atmosphere seem more realistic. The trees could also be representative for nature and make the viewer think as if the mind flayer is part of nature in the upside down. The composition of the shot shows the mind flayer in the middle of the frame and slightly in the left and right boxes. It takes up roughly a third, which draws our attention to it.